3. I bought a house without telling my parents, then found out they planned for my sister's whole family to move in with me for free. You're not, I said. Because it's my house. I bought it for me. Mom jumped in before Anna could respond. Kate, how could you make such a big decision without consulting us? We've been working so hard to find the perfect place for you. No, I said, trying to keep my cool. You've been working hard to find the perfect place for Anna and her family. I didn't need your help. I knew what I wanted, and I bought it. Anna's voice got all high-pitched, like she was about to cry. But we need this, Kate. Do you know how hard it is for us in that tiny apartment? Emily and Mason have to share a room, and Zach's crib is in our bedroom. It's not fair to the kids. I took a deep breath, trying not to snap. That's not my problem, Anna. I've worked hard to get to this point, and I'm not giving up my dream house to fix your situation. That's when Dad decided to chime in. He slammed his hand on the table and said, You're being selfish, Kate. Family is supposed to help each other. What's wrong with you? I stood up, my heart pounding. I'm not selfish. I'm finally standing up for myself, and if that makes me the bad guy in your eyes, so be it. The room exploded into chaos. Anna was crying, Mom was yelling about how she raised me better, and Dad was ranting about how disappointed he was. Josh just sat there, shoving food into his mouth like none of this was happening. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Mom followed me, shouting, You can't just walk away from your family like this. I turned back and said, Watch me. Then I got in my car and drove home, shaking with a mix of anger and relief. I feel like I finally took a stand, but now I'm bracing for whatever fallout comes next. So yeah, that's where things stand. I'll let you know what happens next. Thanks again for all the support, you have no idea how much it's helped. Hi again, Reddit. Thanks so much for all your support and comments after my last update. I wasn't expecting such an outpouring of encouragement, and honestly, it's helped me keep my sanity. A lot of you were right, I should have seen this coming. After that dinner, things escalated exactly the way I feared. So here's the update. The first text came from Anna that night. It was just a photo of her kids sitting on their couch, surrounded by toys, with the caption, Look how cramped we are. Do you think this is fair to Emily and Mason? I didn't reply. What was I supposed to say? That it was somehow my fault her apartment was messy? That buying a house for myself had magically caused her kids to share a room? I put my phone on silent and went to bed, hoping she'd let it go. She didn't. The next day, I woke up to 5 missed calls from my mom and a string of texts from Anna. One said, You always think about yourself. I thought family mattered to you. Another said, Mom is so upset she couldn't even sleep last night. And then the piece de resistance, You've changed, Kate. This isn't the sister I grew up with. Right, because the sister she grew up with was too busy being ignored to develop a backbone. I decided to ignore all of it and focus on work, but the text didn't stop. Every few hours, my mom would chime in with her own gems. You're being so selfish, Kate. We're all disappointed in you. I hope you realize what you're doing to Anna's kids. You need to reconsider. It's not too late to sell the house and buy something better suited for the family. I muted both of them, but then they started leaving voicemails. It was the same guilt-ridden nonsense, but hearing their voices made it hit harder. Mom sounded genuinely angry, Anna sounded like she was on the verge of tears, and at one point, my dad called and yelled at me for 5 straight minutes about how I was tearing the family apart. It didn't stop there. A few days later, my aunt, who I hadn't spoken to in years, called me. She said, I heard about what's going on with Anna. Can't you find it in your heart to help? Family comes first, Kate. I had to laugh. This was the same aunt who barely acknowledged my existence growing up, and now she wanted to lecture me about family. I told her I wasn't discussing it and hung up. Next came the Facebook posts. Anna posted a photo of her kids squeezed together on their bunk bed with the caption, All they want is a little space to grow, but I guess some people think family isn't worth helping anymore. The comments were full of sympathy from her friends, who had no idea what was actually going on. Stuff like You're such a great mom, whoever's letting you down doesn't deserve you and how could anyone leave you guys in that situation? I wanted to scream, she was making me out to be the villain, and I couldn't even defend myself without looking petty. So I stayed quiet and kept scrolling. But then my mom posted something on her own page. She shared a picture of my house. How she got it, I have no idea, with the caption, It's so sad when someone forgets where they came from. Family sacrifices so much for you, and this is how they repay you. I blocked both of them immediately, but not before a coworker messaged me to ask what was going on. Apparently, Lisa, yes, that Lisa, had seen the post and was gossiping about it at work. Now half the office thought I'd abandoned my family to live in a mansion by myself. For the record, my house is just a cottage, not exactly lifestyles of the rich and famous. The stress was starting to get to me. Every time my phone buzzed, I felt a wave of anxiety. I stopped checking social media and avoided my inbox. Even when I was working, I couldn't focus because I was bracing myself for the next call or message. Things hit a new low when Anna showed up at my apartment one evening, unannounced. I opened the door to find her standing there with Zach on her hip and the other 2 kids in tow. She looked exhausted, and the kids were all crying or whining about something. Kate, she said, her voice cracking, we need to talk. I crossed my arms and stood in the doorway, blocking them from coming inside. What do you want, Anna? Please, she said, tears in her eyes, we don't have anywhere else to go. The landlord's raising our rent again, and we can't afford it. Just let us stay with you for a little while, the kids need stability. I felt my heart sink, but I stood firm. Anna, I'm sorry you're struggling, but my house isn't an option. It's not big enough, and honestly, this isn't my responsibility.